Doctor about
Good morning, I'm Joe Fryer. We are coming on the air with breaking news. Just moments ago, NBC News confirmed that O.J. Simpson has died at the age of 76 following a battle with cancer. The former football great rose to infamy following the 1994 slayings of his ex-wife, Nicole Brown Simpson, and her friend, Ron Goldman. He was accused of the murders, but ultimately acquitted following a lengthy trial. Simpson's family released a statement on social media today, reading in part, "Our father, Orenthal James Simpson, succumbed to his battle with cancer. He was surrounded by his children and his grandchildren." And we're told that he died yesterday. NBC's Cynthia McFadden covered the O.J. Simpson trial extensively, which captivated the nation. It was known as the trial of the century. Just a stunning development in a life that started with this football great. He won the Heisman Trophy at USC, was an NFL star playing largely for the Buffalo Bills for so many years, and then came the trial and ultimately serving prison time for an armed robbery. What are you thinking right now?
Well, I'm thinking that this was a life that spanned both the highest of highs and the lowest of lows. Having sat in that courtroom for the entire 11-month criminal trial and then the subsequent civil trial in which the Goldman family sued him for money damages, which were never made good on. Some of the payments were made, but very, very little of the payments were ever made. You know, O.J. Simpson was a larger-than-life person who succumbed, I think, to the very worst instincts that he had. And while he was acquitted of the criminal trial, the evidence, as you sat in the courtroom, was just a mountain of evidence, the blood evidence, the evidence piled up against him. And yet the acquittal, the jury, I think one of the things that was interesting at the time, the jury, of course, saw a much different set of facts than what those of us sitting in the courtroom saw. Much was excluded, much was changed. There were the famous, the glove, if it doesn't fit, it must acquit, you must acquit. The defense team, outlawyered the prosecution in many ways. And it was a stunning, the day of the verdict, I will never forget. I think we went in thinking that there was going to be a conviction, and it was an acquittal. He was convicted in this civil case where the standard, of course, is lower.
Right. He was found liable in the civil case where, of course, it's a preponderance of the evidence versus the reasonable doubt. And we do have to remember, before we even had the trial, we had the Bronco chase, which is just this moment in history that every single person remembers, this low-speed Bronco chase through Los Angeles, carried live on television.
Yeah, remember, the murder, of course, occurred on June 12th, 1994, went quickly to trial. The Bronco case was this, I mean, it's one of those things, if you were alive at that point, you probably remember where you were when that Bronco chase occurred. Simpson, they went to court very quickly. I mean, when we know now, there are sometimes years of delay. In this case, they went to court in November. The crime committed in June. They went to court in November. The verdict was in October of 95.
We are just 2 months away now from marking 30 years since those murders, June 12th, 1994. NBC's Jay Gray has more on the life of O.J. Simpson.
A Heisman Trophy winner and NFL Hall of Fame running back, O.J. Simpson, will be remembered most for something he could never run from. Born Orenthal James Simpson in 1947, he was raised by a single mom on the rough side of San Francisco. His way out? Football. A college star at USC, he was drafted by the Buffalo Bills, where he had a record-setting NFL career, including a league MVP. He retired as one of the best to ever play the game. And for O.J., the spotlight never dimmed.
Nobody does it better than...
Transitioning into a successful career in TV and movies.
That's great.
He was inducted into the Pro Football Hall of Fame in 1985, the same year he married his second wife, Nicole Brown. The couple had 2 children, but apparently a rocky marriage that included allegations of domestic abuse. Nicole Brown Simpson filed for divorce in February of 1992, and just over 2 years later, she and a friend, Ron Goldman, were found murdered in her Brentwood home.
Suspect may be driving a white or light-colored Ford Bronco.
5 days after the deadly attack driven by a former teammate, Simpson led officers on a low-speed chase across Los Angeles, threatening to take his own life before eventually surrendering to police. He was charged with murder. The court proceedings, dubbed the trial of the century.
If it doesn't fit, you must acquit.
lasted 9 months, every minute.
We, the jury, in the above entitled action, find the defendant, Orenthal James Simpson, not guilty of the...
On live TV.
Justice was not served.
Searching for that justice, the Goldman family won a civil suit. Simpson ordered to pay more than $33 million. He returned to court multiple times over the next several years for traffic violations, even pirating cable TV. But it was a Las Vegas robbery in 2008, Simpson saying he was taking back stolen personal property that ultimately sent him to prison.
Count 1, conspiracy to commit a crime. Guilty. Count
Sentenced to 33 years, he served just over 9.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Before being paroled in 2017. Jay Gray, NBC News.
No, I was there in Nevada covering that hearing when he had the parole hearing, serving nearly 9 years in prison after everything that happened in his life. It was the armed robbery of 2 memorabilia dealers that ended up sending him behind bars for so long. And then he has been out for many years. He posts on Twitter. His last post was February 11th, about 2 months ago. But as you say, his life was never really the same, right, Cynthia?
Yeah, I mean, he may have been acquitted in the courtroom, but O.J. Simpson's life was never the same after that trial. And, you know, I have to say, it's with a lot of sadness. I mean, this was a man who was, in his early life, great. And what happened to him and really his own choices led him to really be a piranha in many ways in the community. His world became very small.
In addition to his football career, he was, of course, an actor. We remember him from the Naked Gun movies. We remember him as a spokesman for Hertz. He was in the highest of highs, and then everything so suddenly changed. Cynthia McFadden, thank you for joining us for this special report. That does include this NBC News special report, but we will continue our coverage on our streaming service, NBC News Now, and online at NBCnews.com, and tonight on Nightly News with Lester Holt. I'm Joe Fryer. Thank you for watching.